afternoon at 2 p.m. So it's not just the middle of the day. I think if you were trying to go on a weekend, it would be more expensive, but
I think it sounds wonderful, but those things freak me out. Just like those omnio screen things, you know, when you go in and everything surrounds you. I don't know why I have problems with those things, but I do. It's like claustrophobia a little bit. I don't know, maybe.
So Lori was saying she's on her way next week to San Diego.
that is awesome, Lori. Congratulations on your son's marriage. So exciting.
Yes, it is. And it's really nice. It's a son and it's out there. So I've really had to do little to nothing. I told my son and his fiance, you just figure out what you want for a groom's dinner and then just tell us and you set it up and then we'll. So I haven't had to do all that work, unlike my daughters.
Years ago, and we're talking the 70s, a friend of mine was very new agey, and so was her husband or her partner, but their families came from the sort of Washington, D.C. military aristocracy, where everything was done in a very similar way, very high end. And in like Northern Virginia on big estates and stuff like that. And they said, if it's that important to you, you just go ahead and plan it and we'll show up. So it wasn't, and that's pretty much what they did, right? And so those of us that were friends from grad school and whatnot, we all just, hung out, but it was this big, lavish affair. And it was just, I wish I had pictures of it because there were all of us with our long hair and bell-bottom pants and no bras and whatnot. And then these people in their military dress and these women in their very formal dresses. And yeah, so, but it is very nice to not have to do the individual stuff and then just show up. So
I was out somewhere just this last week and there was a woman with bell bottoms.
Oh,
They were print, they were busy. And I just thought, oh, wow, I remember those.
You wait long enough, everything comes back.
yep,
Yeah.
So
yep, absolutely. I don't think I'm going to grow my hair out though. So how is everybody this first week in April? How long do your ECFE programs go? Hi, Christy. Hi, Kim.
right up to Memorial Day for us.
Okay. How about you, Lori?
28th is our last.
Okay.
I think we go to the middle of May.
Hey, everybody.
We actually just started up again this week, so.
Oh, that's right. Hi, Christy. We were just talking about how long programs go into the spring. How long does 196 go?
June 8th,
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
because we're on a full teacher contract.
Oh, you lucky ones.
Well, that means we work till June 9th,
Yeah.
but yeah. No, we are lucky. We're very lucky.
So what school is that?
Rosemount, Apple Valley, Egan.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, I see you're all eating, so I'm gonna get my lunch out.
Lunch bunch. I was just watching a video. I'm a member of ISTE, which is the International Society for Technology and Education. And they have a lot of professional development webinars. So I was just watching this one about families. Okay, that was weird. Families as allies in digital citizenship. So my thing is telling me that my internet is unstable. So hopefully you can still hear me. Actually, let me do this. Put in the live transcript. There we go. Okay. It's just a little choppy. Okay, good. Anyway, it was super interesting, but it got me. I mean, these women are they're not parenting educators. They're educators that have sort of taken on technology expertise, and then they provide professional development support. But their ideas for sort of working with families so that they're on the same page in terms of using technology at home, similar to the way that, and not for learning necessarily, but more like from a standpoint of safety and privacy and understanding family values and helping families sort of translate that into, if we care about keeping our bank accounts safe, right, then we'll practice being safe online with our kids or whatever. So yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting. I especially liked it because they had all kinds of games, all kinds of like children's storybooks and playing like Never Have I Ever, and all these really open-ended, or like doing, one of them she had like a Pinterest board or a Padlet with different pictures, and it's just like a caption this. And I thought it was a really fun way of, because she would have like a picture of a person walking, just sort of staring at their phone, or a picture of sort of someone standing in front of a tree, but the tree is made out of like wires. So it's definitely some sort of symbol for digital stuff. And but without labeling it, it's just like having them, and everybody can get on the Padlet and kind of hear this sort of open-ended thing of how people see the same image, so anyway, so it was interesting. I hope to do more of that kind of thing with ECFEs and schools and stuff. So
That'd be awesome, Susan. Like this one idea is amazing. Like,
yeah, and there's some children's storybooks. And the nice thing too is that I think that a lot of these messages are a great one for bridging the sort of 3 to 8 year old range for families, because you get much older. Like these women were saying it too, like they were both saying they have teenagers, and they're teenagers. By the time they hit teenagers, they're just going to roll their eyes, right? But a lot of the getting on the same page, what are our values, that kind of thing, are just great for when you've got a 6-year-old, a 7-year-old, an 8-year-old. And so for families in the sort of ECFE range from birth to 8, anyway.
well, that's awesome.
Yeah. I don't know why
I've done a picture thing, which would be great on Padlet. Is like a where are you with this right now kind of thing. I've done it with staff, but I think you could do it with parents too. Where there's somebody diving in the water, and then there's somebody like at the edge putting their toe in, and then there's somebody like out to sea, like paddling to stay alive, and like, and you could do that with lots of different themes, but where are you with this right now, and kind of talk about that.
Yeah.
I've never. That's awesome. And I haven't had it happen before in 10 years. I have a dad who I had his wife, and so I had mom and young children about 2 or 3 years ago. She came to my infant class, And nearing the end of the infant class, she said she was going through a divorce, and would I write a letter to her lawyer to as a, like a character, like she's been coming to ECFE. And I asked my boss, and she said, you cannot write anything that says, you cannot write anything that, you can say how many times she came. That's all you can say, right? And I told her, I'm sorry, I can't do that, whatever. She's like, well, I'm in the middle of a really nasty custody battle. And I'm like, I'm really sorry to hear that. 2 years ago, later, last spring, right before COVID, I get an email from this mom saying, as part of the divorce, decree and custody, my ex needs to attend parenting classes. And I was like, okay, sounds great. So he came to one class and then COVID shut us down. But he came to every single class online, every single class. Okay. Disappeared. Haven't seen him. He showed up this spring. He comes to 2 different classes with 2 children. So I think he's court ordered. You guys, he knows everything. The information he's giving is not wrong, but he practically takes over the class.
Oh,
It's really annoying. And so sometimes the information is right. And again, I've had him now 4 times in 2 weeks. Some of the information he gives is correct, but some of it's wrong. An instance for it being wrong was we were talking about language development briefly in my Thursday night class. And we were talking about speech therapy and early intervention and whatever. And he was like, well, I got my son to talk by walking around with him and not giving him what he wanted until he said the word. And I was like, you know what? I said, that works really well when your child has good expressive language and they have the ability. I said, but unfortunately, that doesn't work for every kid. So I've got him like spouting off this, and then I have to say that's not right without saying that's not right. And then the other thing that he's doing that's driving me absolutely insane is when I'm talking, like last night, my topic was about just mealtime and, respecting kids' wishes when they say they're full. And I have a mom who's just very nervous about making sure her child eats, and it's a real battle. And so I was just talking, and when I was talking about, respecting when they're not hungry and, the whole Ellen Satter thing, he's going very loudly, He's super verbal. And then he'll do the, do you know what I do to a parent? I do this, and it works every time. But that's also like, he's not wrong, but he just thinks he knows everything. And I don't know what his background is. You guys, it's almost like he's a parent educator. But so when he shares things, he shares them as, this is what you should do, not this is what worked for me. So he just kind of has this aura of real pompous.
I had somebody like that once.
Well, how did you deal with that?
Oh, I prayed a lot.
Okay.
I just was like,
well, pray for me, okay?
but he was
wrote
just
something
like
down.
that, except he would insult people.
Oh.
And he knew everything he did was right, and the rest of the world is wrong. And we had 3 divorced parents in the class, and he would talk about broken homes and
Oh God.
and then it was the Me Too kind of movement, and he's like, well, it's a hard time to be a white man in this, like he said crap like that. Just like, so.
And you're constantly on the defensive.
Constantly.
Because you're just like, what is this guy going to say? And how do I, you're just, you're playing defense the whole hour, and it's exhausting.
Can you get the others talking, like specifically, like like ask somebody else a question or do a little group, or, I mean, how big is the class?
Well, 6 parents, because that's our cap right now.
Yeah. Okay. Could you do a couple small group things or something, then have him come back? Because then he couldn't do the whole time. I don't know.
So the good news is he doesn't dominate.
Oh.
He just always has something to say, and he always is right.
Oh.
He's just so confident, but it's obnoxious confident. It's not like, I don't know why. Okay, I know why he's there. He's court ordered. but he already knows everything.
Yeah.
So it's just, I don't know. I just feel like, I just feel like he's going to turn some parents off because he's a know-it-all.
What do you think is his need? Why, like if we were to explore why that acting out behavior happens, what do you think is his motivation or his need? What need is he trying to meet?
My guess, because I thought about that a little bit, my guess is he's probably put out that he's required to do this. And so he's going to sit and I'm going to prove to everybody that I know what I'm doing. I'm a good dad, even if the courts say that I have to be here. Susan, no, I don't think they know that. I'm pretty sure that I'm 99. He's in a class right now where he's not been with anybody before. And he didn't even mention it back in spring either. So that is not common knowledge.
But does he think that other people know?
Maybe. It's possible.
Oh, he's defending himself. He's on the defensive, which then
Totally.
puts everyone else on the defensive. How could you go on offense, Ellen?
Yeah, well, I'm going to continue. Like when he shares something good, I'll be like, yeah, that's great. And then make sure I bounce it. What are some other things that the rest of you have? I'm just really worried that he's going to turn off. I have a couple, and the other thing too, he's in that class with 2 other families with special needs.
Oh.
And so I'm just worried that he's just going to make them feel, I don't know, maybe it might be really early, but just the last couple sessions, these last 4 sessions, I've just been like, and when I'm done, I'm just, ew, I just feel yucky. So how do I get on the offensive? I don't know. I guess I'll treat him like he's a broken man. Because I mean, there's something inside him that's making him so, he's just very self-assured, but it's more than
he's the opposite.
Probably isn't.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
He's probably extremely insecure, and
Mhm.
so he's got to prove that he's not.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I wonder, have you ever done anything in your class talking about the power of vulnerability?
Mm.
I'm just talking about Brené Brown type stuff.
I've done it before, but this is a brand new evening class and we're doing sleep and mealtime. Like we're
Right.
down to the basics. I just don't know that we'll get to that.
Right.
But
I just wonder sometimes, like with that whole trying to set the classroom environment stuff that you can sometimes do towards the beginning of a set of classes or whatever, meeting with someone, like to try to set that tone of none of us does this right all the time. And
right.
do you know what I mean? Like we're going to learn from each other.
Yeah, I can absolutely weave that in, like sometimes when a mom shares that something went wrong, I can absolutely weave that into my conversation. So that's a good point. Just like, yeah, none of us get this right. He's also was in the military.
So he's super black and white, rigid. Yeah.
But he's
He might
very
need
warm with his kids. He's very warm. He's a good, from what
He
I've
is.
seen with his kids, he has some unreasonable expectations for his 3-year-old. He thinks he's being difficult because he won't join in the play. I'm like, oh no, he's just feeling out the room. He's on looker play. He's checking it out. And he's like, yeah, he's just really quiet and shy. He's not like my other kids. I'm like, that's okay. No big deal. So anyway.
A class on temperament, maybe.
Yeah, a little class on temperament. I might switch that up too.
Maybe
So,
he's trying to impress you, Ellen, because he feels like you
Mhm.
might have some power over him here. Like he
So-
doesn't know that you're not allowed to give an evaluation of him, or like maybe he's
Right.
trying to impress
Maybe.
you.
look at
And
how
if you
good I
can give
am with
him,
my kids.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
If you can give him messages, even like during interaction time or through email, or that he's a good dad.
Yeah, that might really help.
That might
More.
help. I don't know.
Kind of butter him up a little bit more than I
Mhm.
might butter up other parents.
Which
Okay.
will feel really icky to you, but
Yeah.
you can do it.
Yeah.
If you're just starting with this group, I usually start off the year this way, but it's the same thing if you're just starting with this group. Parental appropriate expectations of children of this age,
Mhm.
just mentally, and get that little graph out where it says most parents, 0 to 3, what I'm talking about. They expect children to share at infancy to 2,
Yeah.
and then just talk about what it's like to be that young, and that isn't a possibility, so that he, looks at it a different way, that because it sounds like his expectations are a little off too, aren't they?
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
And he has a stepchildren with a second wife that are teenagers. So he's kind of parenting this gamut of 3 to 15, but some aren't his. And so, yeah, it's just really, it's just a very unique situation. So thanks guys for letting me bounce that off. I'm just, yeah, I think this might be the first time I've ever had this happen. That'll make you defensive. Yeah, teenagers, right. So, thanks everybody. New topic. That took a long time.
You have me interested, Ellen, so I'm gonna go back and watch it because I just got in, so I didn't hear what the situation was, but I'm gonna go back and watch this and see. It'll be good.
Good. Enjoy.
I'm muted there, but it does touch on, the challenge, right? That when you have how hard it is to navigate the flow anyway, and then you have one parent, and it sounds like in this situation, you're navigating quite a lot in the single class as it is, right? If you've got a couple parents with special needs kids, and yeah.
Hi, Dr. Susan and everyone. I'm sorry I'm late. I was working on my assignment paper. I didn't notice the time. Sorry. Hey,
No
Susan,
problem.
I saw the beautiful flower behind you. That's awesome.
Oh.
Is that real?
No, I mean, they're real dry flowers, but I'm in my daughter's bedroom in Chicago. So that's why.
Ah,
So if I'm going to turn the internet off, I'm going to turn the video off because the internet is kind of wonky
Oh.
here. But
oh,
anyway, so I'm participating. You just won't see me, but all is fine. All is fine in Chicago.
yeah.
and
So
just-
So I have a question for you and everyone in our group. I mean, I have difficulty finding any original primary studies on the effectiveness, impact of ECFE program. So I spent so much time, a lot of time. So what I only paper I have in hand is Dr. Susan, your report in 2013. It was not published. I had to ask my professor for permission to use it for my for my projects. So but I wonder if I didn't look for it in the right place. So do you have suggestions for me?
I'll let others chime in too. There's, I don't have any like journal publications that I can give. I mean, certainly none of my own. Mine have been less about the effectiveness of ECFE and more about the process of learning in ECFE through social discussion, through community and that sort of thing. But years ago, Betty Cook when she was at the Department of Education, published evaluation that I'm sure everybody has on their shelves because they were probably distributed, but they were, gosh, I brought this with me to Minnesota. So I'm thinking this report might have been, 99 or something like that.
99.
And unfortunately, well, actually, I'll look when I get home. I may have brought it home, but, and then there was another one that was done that was like a follow-up, followed kids into 3rd grade, I think, on reading. The problem is, well, don't get me started on the problems with evaluating ECFE and the lack of ECFE evaluation data. But one of the problems is people will oftentimes want longitudinal data, right? They want to see if a child has been in ECFE, do the effects of being in, what are those effects of being in ECFE? Do they matter to the child's education, since ECFE is embedded in a school district, right? And do we see those effects lasting? Well, part of the problem, and this probably won't help your master's project, is that ECFE in a lot of school districts was treated separately from registering kids for school. So there was no way of tracking the kids. So you could do historical stuff like contacting parents of kids who are 8 and going, did your child go to, was your child in ECFE? And it was purely anecdotal, but there was no, it wasn't like children when they entered the school system at say 2 years old were given a number that was their school district number that then they could track. And then now the kid is 8 years old and we could see, oh, this lot of children were in ECFE. We can look at their data compared to other children. That didn't happen until, oh gosh, probably 5 years ago. Anyway.
Oh, really? 5 years ago? You mean do we have any evaluation or study like say on this 5 years ago? Like during these past 5 years?
No, that would be, well, now you're talking, you have to talk to the Department of Ed, the Minnesota Department of Education.
Okay, so actually, like there are multiple studies available. This study on the Incredible Years program and especially Triple P program.
Right.
But I just couldn't find anything about ECFE, and also there are like studies about the long-lasting effectiveness about Incredible Years. I feel like so that is also made me to think about, because we talked about all the fantastic stories from the parents, and I also remember Karen. She shared, her daughter grew up with ECFE and her daughter associated with other ECFE kids, right? And even they want to date with these children, they peers. And so I feel like that's so beautiful stories, and those powerful stories, we talk about how to use it. I feel like, is that possible if, you are interested, or you can, like you have all the power and the support, right? So, I mean, if we can conduct qualitative researches,
research. You're honestly pushing me into pretty uncomfortable territory right now.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. I have spoken loudly and often about this very issue. And so I don't really feel comfortable repeating all of that right now. And I know when you and I met individually, I also shared all of this with you.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
My best suggestion is to start writing a grant for $5 million. I'm not kidding.
Really?
I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding you.
Oh my God.
I mean, you want to compare, sorry.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to go there. I'm just not going to go there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. We have not been funded well enough, Yuji, to be able to do these large scale kinds of academic studies that you're referring to.
Yeah.
My best suggestion is to break it down to what are the components of ECFE that we do, and look for primary research on that. There was a huge study published by the National Academy of Science in 2000, I don't know, 15 or 16, that's readily available, where you could pull data out of there and really break it down to what are the components, the parent interaction, the parent education around particular topics, but program effectiveness, specifically, like, we're lucky we're still here. Like,
Surviving.
we have never gotten the funding to do anything like that. So
I'm so sorry.
I mean, you don't need to be sorry, but like, that's just the fact. So that's my suggestion of what to look for if you're looking to defend the effectiveness.
Well, and
Thank
Yuji,
you.
I just put in the chat something that
Yeah.
MNAFEE put together several years ago that sort of breaks things down. But
Okay.
honestly, I think the only way this will ever happen, I mean, and maybe school districts could do it on their own. I mean, wouldn't that be amazing, PLC, to be able to follow kids, to be able to see what was the effectiveness of ECFE on kids? But I don't think it will ever be done on a statewide level. For crying out loud, we can't even get the state to make sure that every district has an ECFE program. Look at what happened to Edina.
Yeah.
So I think, I think we could maybe get data from our own district, but to get a global thing, I love that you have unreasonable, like, big goals, because having unreasonable big goals is how you change the world. But it's just not, just not going to happen. Smaller scale pieces, yes, but unfortunately.
Yeah, even small pieces, I didn't find any studies. For example, like in Ireland, right? So I think Incredible Years is very popular in Ireland. So there is a professional researcher at a university in Ireland. So she and her team, right? She received an award for the funding of the research. I do not know how much was that. So they conducted several studies about Incredible Years. So there's the latest one she conducted is about the long-term effectiveness, and the sample size is not big. They like 100, like about 140 or something, right? And they divided this family into different groups. And the last group, for after 18 months of the intervention, that was only 20 interviews with 20 families. So I feel maybe is that a path we can do in a small scale. I mean, I just make some kind of voice, into the field, right? So I feel ECFE is just so perfect model. I feel so.
People from other places say, but you're never an expert in your own backyard, so that's kind of how it goes. Right?
Sorry.
Like, don't you guys feel that way? Like, all over the country, like, Minnesota's the leader, and then we're like, well, we don't even have someone at MDE paying attention to us. So can I ask a question? Can I shift the topic? Would that be okay? Does anybody have a parent educator assigned to screening in your, and what kinds of support do you provide? Greta, I saw your hand go up.
I had to rethink what your question was, because I do coordinate screening. So I am a parent educator.
I meant like, yeah, okay.
You're an educator that comes in at screening time, and if they're the role that they would play.
Yeah.
Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. No, I don't have anybody separate from myself. Sorry.
I mean, we're looking to have a collaboration with screening. They're a separate department from us, and they're willing. We need to, like, what does that look like? Who's assigned to it? What are the best kinds of things to provide? So thank you.
Hmm. Around parenting, Christy, I know that having brochures on the hot topics is a big for the 2 districts that I've worked in. You know, having that stuff available and then having somebody maybe with them, and that's who they can connect to afterwards might be, you know, like after the exit, they could connect or something along that line.
Yeah, I was thinking too about something with regard to referrals, because we do the parent questionnaire, and if they had identified
Yeah.
areas of concern for them, could we have an automatic referral triggered if there was some criteria that we met, or I don't know. Right now, they just have their nurse providing parenting information, and you know, that has a particular lens,
It does.
a healthcare professional. So
I have heard of districts doing that. If they check, you know, at the bottom of the exit summary form, there is, did you refer to early childhood preschool programs or Head Start or ECFE? And if that got checked, I know districts that when that gets checked, it rolls over automatically. So it's not a straight out referral for the other pieces, but it does something to ECFE. I don't know if that's helpful.
yeah, we tend to get a lot of referrals for preschool, but I think a little parent support versus just serving the, I mean, I don't have to tell you guys, versus just serving the child in another program could really go a long way in as an intervention.
I have a feeling it would be a conversation with the nurses that are doing the exit and make, you know, it is on that form. So when just reminding them that we're there, right?
Right. Being at the table with discussions and meetings, and
Yeah,
I think I'm excited. I think it'll be a good addition. But
yay.
Thank you.
Who's doing MNAFEE next week? Yeah, good, awesome. Maybe I'll see some of you there. It's not going to be nearly as fun as like, hey, you know, and then going out to dinner and
Susan,
having
put your hand down now. Susan, you can put your hand down now.
Yeah, Susan, hand out.
Sorry, it just had to be said. Sorry.
Well, so I learned a trick. Well, actually, it's not a trick. I tried. So I was giving my students an exam, and I always give them my Zoom link, the Zoom link to the class, so that while they're taking the exam through Canvas, if they need to ask me a question or whatever, they can hop over to Zoom. Well, I found one of the problems though is what you can do in a classroom that you can't do online is send a message, like broadcast something to everybody who's taking the test at the same time, right? So we're in a classroom, Ellen notices that there's a typo in question number 7. She points that out to me. I can then say to the classroom, everybody just letting you know, there's a typo in number 7. This is what it should be, right? The whole class hears that. I cannot do that online, right? The students are all just in their little modules. So what I did was I took my picture that shows up when you don't have your camera on, and I created a little text file that just said, typo on number 7 and on number 9. And I inserted that as my picture. So then I could have my camera off. So any student who then came over to tell me that there was a typo, that was where I could communicate that to everyone. Anyway, so just as letting you know, like if you do an office hour or something like that, you can change your picture, of course, and put something else up. Anyway, but then I had to change it back so that it was me and my little Bitmoji, and it was the one with me raising my hand. So yes, I'll be at MNAFEE, obviously, because we're hosting Perfect Connections next week. When? At 11:30.
11:30.
So, at 11:30. So just as a reminder, and actually, since that was brought up, who here would be willing to volunteer? Should we need, if we have more than 20 people, I don't want to have a big group. So then I would create breakout groups to basically continue the conversation, but just in smaller, smaller groups. Who here would be willing to facilitate the smaller groups? Anyone? Ellen?
I'm already helping with tech, so what's one more session?
Oh, no, well,
I was
you're
gonna
gonna,
say,
were you
I'm a
gonna be here
volunteer
anyway?
at MNAFEE, but I'll be
Well,
here too, I guess.
I kind of wanted to do Heather's thing, because Heather's only doing the reflective dialogue once.
Oh, and she's doing it at 11:30
It's
also?
at 11:30, and she had asked me to be there too.
Oh, well, that
So
sucks.
I
It
know.
really does.
But
Well,
you're-
I'll be here, Susan.
No, well, that's great, Christy. I appreciate that.
so I would
But
do
also
it,
I'm
but-
sad that they
Yeah.
put us at the same time spot.
I know. And it's the only time that Heather is doing that. And so I haven't seen any of the new stuff. I mean, I remember doing that stuff like 8-10 years ago.
Right.
And I know she's revamped it all. So I'd really like to see that,
Oh, sure.
which
yeah.
means I'll miss Perfect Connections. But if you hang out long enough,
Maybe we can come back afterwards.
Becca and I'll come running down the virtual hallway to join.
I'm taking a course on her website, so I already can see what she's doing. So that wouldn't be a priority for me. And that could be the same for other people.
Well,
Like they're already taking a reflective dialogue course through her. So
Okay, so is that just the intro to the reflective dialogue course? Because I am gonna buy it and do it this summer. So maybe I don't need to go to her thing. I don't know.
well, I'm taking the mini course because I just wanted to like get a sampling and I didn't want to roll out a whole bunch of dough for it. So I'll probably be taking that, but
Okay.
right now I'm taking the mini
was
course.
also
And
supposed
so I feel like I'm already doing it and seeing it. So, but I'm sure it's going to be a wonderful workshop. I don't want to
Exactly.
sound like
Exactly. So, well, we'll just see who's here. I've certainly volunteered people into roles before. So,
Susan, I'm willing to volunteer for whatever I can do, but I do not know what I can do.
oh, it's basically talking.
Talking.
I mean, it's basically doing what we're doing here, only I would create a breakout group, a great breakout
Okay.
room. So if we have 30, I'd break it into two
Mhm.
groups of 15. And
You mean the next week, right? Next Friday?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Let me know if there's anything I can do.
Oh, yeah.
And also, I
thank you.
have a question about the MNAFEE. So we have conference, right? So I am not a member of a MNAFEE. Can I attend that conference?
You don't have to be a member. You just have to pay a little bit more money.
Oh, okay. Good.
Although I
Thank
think
you.
I think it ends up being cheaper to just become a member. I could be wrong, but
Also, I think registration closes. Did it close yesterday?
Monday at noon.
Oh, Monday at noon. Thank you.
Mhm.
I knew it was someday at noon, but I couldn't remember what day.
Oh. So that next Monday? Okay. Thank you. So I also, I mean, as because I'm not working in Minnesota right now, so can I join the membership?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Sure. Oh, good. Thank you.
And certainly, Ellen, I would say, I mean, Heather will let you know. Like this is something she's continuing to do, right? So if you have a toss up of how should I spend, and not just coming here, but like if there's other stuff, Heather will, she'll let you know. But yeah.
My coworker and I were just having this conversation. What are we going to do? Because sometimes there's things on the same section and you're like, I want to get to both of those. And then it's like, or should I do things that are fulfilling my license? Should I do or things that are specific to peer and ed, which we don't get from our district. And we just had this whole 20-minute conversation about what breakouts to go to. It's so hard to determine sometimes which, and yeah, that's one of them is Heather's stuff and Susan's stuff. You guys are both on the same time.
Well,
I'm curious
Susan,
about what
Susan's stuff is our stuff. Like it's just this, right? So sorry, Carly.
I just have a quick question about MNAFEE. I'm thinking about it. We registered as a group, our team of people in my district, but are we supposed to pick our breakout sessions ahead of time? Because we just got confirmation yesterday that we were registered as a group, but I haven't seen any other communications about that.
I had a question about that too, Carly. I haven't seen anything come through as far as choosing your breakouts. I don't
I don't
So
think
we-
there has been anything.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
I was
Okay.
wondering that too, because we have people who can't get a sub for one day, but can for another day. And it's the same price to register because of the number of people. It's the same price to register as a group. And so then I'm a little worried that MNAFEE's, and I might get in touch with Linda, but MNAFEE's going to think they have all these people that are going to attend all these workshops. So people are really picking and choosing. So I don't know how that'll go. We will see. We're all inventing new stuff to do everything we do, right? So are they. So it'll be interesting. Looking forward to it. But I would rather be in St. Cloud.
Me too. It's like
Too.
it's like spring break. I get to leave my house and my children and go somewhere just for me. Just kidding. I love my kids.
My director invited us to her place on Wednesday evening, and she's got a hot tub. So we're gonna.
Can we have her address?
I'll bring
It's
pictures.
a hot
Elsa.
tub.
My parent ed group from the U of M, who we were all went through the program together, is gonna have some kind of little get together on Thursday night, I think, because this is the only time we see each other. Like, is the MNAFEE conference? None of us teach in the same district or anything. So, yeah, I'm a little sad that we're not in St. Cloud, but glad we're trying to figure out how to connect anyway.
So that brings up, actually, let me put my camera back on here. So let's just fast forward a year from now. MNAFEE is back in person. We're back at the Civics or the St. Cloud Convention Center, whatever, staying at the Kelly Inn or not. So how would you see Perfect Connections working, fitting in, supporting, being part of MNAFEE?
Regional groups who meet on their own timeline. So like you get the Northern Minnesota peeps, and someone up there would say, okay, I'm taking the, north part of the state, and then maybe the western side. That way then, but we'd have to cut it off at Cambridge, Isanti though, right, Greta? Like that's the cutoff. Then it's South Metro, but they wouldn't be able to get too big. You'd have to, because we wouldn't want Greta to be with the up north people. Just kidding. We want you with us, not with them. I know, love. No, really, like have pockets of people so that they are, because when you're rural, it's really different when you're a small district. I can't remember. I went to something, I think it might've been with MDE. It might've been that community of practice. And I was at a table with all these huge districts. And I was like, and even Christy, sometimes just, you say we have 7 parent educators in our district. And I'm like, oh my God, who are you people?
They're not all full-time, like they're
I
part-time
know.
people.
I know, but still, like, it's just, it's a different
know.
world for me
I
to think
know.
about a district with so many parent educators when it's me, myself, and I. So just being able, or maybe just, choose, are you in a big district, a little district? That would be, I think, an ideal way to continue.
So, but would it be, so this would be physical discussions during MNAFEE, right? Or would it be, that's what I'm talking about. Would it be, I want the spirit of what we do every week to continue while MNAFEE is going on. And yes, virtual is fine. And I certainly anticipate that when we're all back to whatever normal is going to look like, we still have this way of getting together, right? But we have been able to create a certain level of community and
Mhm,
exchange
mm.
and all of that, that I would adore continuing during MNAFEE. Now, it certainly
Yes.
could be, here's the link, and just like we're doing this year, right? So it's an alternative to a workshop. You can go onto this link or whatever. But I guess what I'm asking is, how do we continue connections like this?
Okay, so can I jump in? Because I'm super
Please.
excited.
Yeah.
Okay, so, okay, if you know me, you know that, and I'm sorry, this is recorded, so I don't know. I am a huge Keith Urban fan. Like,
Do you want me
I
to
have
stop the
met him.
recording?
No,
Okay.
I have met him. I follow him on the road. Like, it's been 2 years since I've been to a concert because of COVID, but we have an online community, several of them, right? And we meet like outside the concert grounds, like, oh my gosh, it's you, like in real, like all over the country they come in person. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, if I could see like these people in one of the ballrooms at the St. Cloud Conference Center, where we set up like little mixer activities, and I just think that would be amazing.
Well, something that I started with when I was working in Faribault is we would try to do a quarterly or even just 3 times spring, summer, fall, spring, summer gatherings of parent educators in our area. But people wanted to host, and it started getting to be like a 3-hour drive. And it was just too long, and finding a time that worked for everybody was just really difficult. So as much as I love the in-person opportunity, it's just sometimes really hard to get. So I don't know.
But
if
this would be once a year at
Oh, once a year.
at the conference.
Oh, like, so basically tailgating.
Yeah.
Right. So this would be, it'd be like Becca's thing about, like happy hour,
Yeah.
hour at like happy hour at MNAFEE, like sponsored by Perfect Connections or something. Yeah.
Love it. Yeah.
Personally, something, I don't know how other people feel about this, but I've only actually gotten to go to the conference in person once, being kind of a newbie and whatnot with COVID-19. But there was a certain almost anticlimactic feel. Friday, everybody kind of disperses and goes home. And for me, I don't know how this works with all of your guys' normal work week, but for me, this right here now is like the cherry on top of my week. Like, I often will have another work meeting later in the afternoon, but for me, it's like I'm done teaching. I have my last class Friday morning, and this is my like dive in process. What did I just do this last week? And I would love, even if we did something else during the conference, somehow to have something like after the conference is technically over, but like that, like what I love about this group is how casual it is. You come as you are. You're maybe eating lunch, you're maybe even in your car on your way home, whatever. You're coming 5 or 10 minutes late every time because you're rushing home from class like me, but like you just come as you are. And then it's like there's not a prescribed topic. There's not we're talking about this week. It's what is going on? How do you process? And I see Ellen just wrote, how do you deal with carpooling and stuff like that then? I would love 2 things. I would like a happy hour in person kind of thing. And then it would be so cool if there was some kind of, even when you got home, doing this again, like the invitation to come process Zoom style, but like, okay, we just had this conference, like, and have a conversation when it's all done, as the cherry on top. I don't know how that would work, but I love being able to process afterwards.
I just think I like that idea, Becca. I think just having the opportunity to do that is really would be really important to kind of unpack it all. I always hate that MNAFEE's in May or April, because like that's the end, like you're almost to the end of your year and you've like got all these new fresh ideas, like I'm going to start that, I'm going to do that. And you're like, oh, I'm already planned, you know? So yeah, it's kind of a bummer because I could use that energy that I get from MNAFEE in September. Oh yeah, that's true. Susan has a good point.
Yeah. What I could figure would be like Thursday night at the bar, right? Because then you've avoided people leaving. I mean, like I totally get the Friday thing because I get that too. But Becca, what you're saying is exactly why I was glad when I sort of inserted myself into the MNAFEE conference and asked about having Perfect Connections continue while MNAFEE was going on. And they said, well, how about the last session on Friday? And I thought, yeah, because I've been there on that last session on Friday, right? And I would love to end a conference talking to my friends and peers and just having a great conversation. And but to do it practically, there are still going to be people who are going to leave, like people are going to leave. And especially because we've certainly been to MNAFEE with the snow, where if there is any kind of impending bad weather, bad roads, people will leave, right? Even before that last session is done. So Thursday night is party night, because that's, even if people only come in for Thursday, stay overnight till Friday, or they're there for one day, Thursday's the full day, right? So somehow Thursday evening, but I know that there's always that 4 to 6 o'clock end of the afternoon thing with the exhibitors and things like that. So yeah, well, we've got a year to think about it, but as we're talking about this, I would love, and then of course having, talking with MNAFEE about it, because I would just like rent a room someplace in St. Cloud, and just say, meet me over at Joe's. So
it sounds like there's two different things. There's that let's see each other in flesh and blood, people to person to person, and then there's the debriefing and carrying on the energy of the conference. So I think if you could do that in two different ways, like you guys have come to. Becca, the next time we meet, we talk about the conference, or maybe it's a couple sessions, but then on site, in person, to see each other and meet each other that way. Is that what I'm hearing? Like just kind of two ways to kind of look at it? You're muted, Susan.
You're muted, Susan.
I'm thinking of a third thing, which would be a blend, which would be basically offering the opportunity, because I think when you do happy hour, then it's just like, then you're catching up on the kids, you're catching up on, how really was COVID for you? Were you able to travel? And we talk about that stuff somewhat, but I would say a good 50 minutes of our hour together is on practice. This is a professional practice community. This is or other words called a community of practice. And that's what I would love to have at MNAFEE, and whether it would be on a regional basis or just saying to MNAFEE, I'll facilitate another workshop session on Perfect Connections, and anybody who wants to show up, or maybe say to them, I'll be there for all day Thursday and Friday, give me 2 sessions, and we'll do 2 Perfect Connection meetings as a workshop alternative or something like that. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay, yeah, so that's a third something.
Well, honestly, I'm even thinking for next Friday that for people who are going to go to Heather's thing, you could almost do another Perfect Connections, and you could advertise it that, I don't know, like an additional one. So like round 2, I don't know, for anybody who misses the first one, they could do a second one and still kind of unpack and debrief. I don't know. Because there may be people who want to kind of break it down and, see how the week was, but they're gonna attend, other things. So just a thought, like, we'll do this again.
Or let people know that that's going to be our topic at our meeting the following Friday.
Sure,
Right.
that works too.
Is
Yep.
to debrief. Yeah. So, well, I just realized it's after 1, so I don't want to hold you all, but thanks for that input. Like I said, we've got a good year to consider all of this. So,
Yep.
And before we leave, Becca, I have a quick question for you. Are you getting the email blast or I added you to the listserv, but I only have your UMN account?
No, I'm not. Can
Okay.
I put my address in the
Yeah, please do.
chat?
Yep,
Okay.
good. Okay.
Well, have a good Friday, everybody.
Bye, everybody. We'll see you next Thursday. Remember, 11:30, if you're going to be here. And if you go to another workshop, I hope it's wonderful. So
We'll pop in and see if you're still going.
Yes,
There you
Ellen and
go.
I will definitely run back as quick as we can on our computers.
It's a fire music playing behind us. Da, 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 da.
Yes.
Well, maybe just for you, we'll keep it going till 1:30 or something.
We
like that.
understand if you can't. We get it. All right.
Lee,
Before
stop
you
talking.
guys go, I have a little visual candy that I want to show you. This was given to me today by
Oh,
a woman who is a part of our program who came and observed me. She's part of St. Cloud's early chat or parent education class right now. And so here's a little visual candy. Isn't it amazing? It's orchid.
wow.
that she
It's
brought us.
beautiful.
A little
Oh,
something.
beautiful.
April showers bring Mayflowers. So here we are. A
Here
little
we are.
early.
Awesome.
Have a good weekend.
Beautiful.
Wow.
Bye,
Have a
everybody.
great weekend, everyone.
Yeah. So our next meeting is Thursday, 11:30.
Friday, 11:30.
Friday.
Friday, 11:30.
Okay. Thank you. Because I saw someone said Thursday.
We were talking about future plans.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Thank you.
Yep. Hi, everybody.
Have a good week.
Bye.